The scream ripped through the house like a chainsaw through pine, jolting me upright in bed, heart pounding against my ribs like it was trying to escape. I bolted down the hallway, bare feet slapping against the cold hardwood, convinced some intruder had finally come for us in this godforsaken suburb. But when I flung open Julian's door, the only thing staring back at me was Owen, Julian's best friend since kindergarten, curled up on the air mattress, sobbing into his pillow like the world had ended, his body shaking so violently the whole frame rattled. "Dad? What the hell?" Julian mumbled from his bed, rubbing sleep from his eyes, his voice thick with that teenage grogginess that always made him sound half asleep even when he was wide awake. I froze there in the doorway, the dim glow from the hallway nightlight casting long shadows across the room. Owen's cries hit me like punches, raw, guttural things that clawed at something deep inside, a place I hadn't felt stir in years. Not since Sarah left, taking half my soul with her when she walked out on our picture-perfect life in Willow Creek, Ohio. That was 8 years ago, and I'd built walls higher than the cornfields around here to keep the herd out. But now, seeing this kid, 18, same as my boy, breaking like that, cracked something open. "Owen," I said softly, stepping inside despite every instinct screaming to back away. Julian sat up fully now, his messy blonde hair sticking out like a halo in the low light, confusion etching lines on his face that made him look older than he was. "Hey, buddy, talk to me. What's going on?" Owen lifted his head, his green eyes red-rimmed and wild, tears streaking his freckled cheeks. He was the kind of kid who turned heads without trying, tall and lean from years on the soccer field, with that effortless charm that made teachers love him and girls, and probably some boys, though he'd never said whisper in the halls. But tonight, he looked small, shattered. "Mr. Harlan, Alex, it's my dad. He found out about everything." Julian swung his legs over the side of the bed, reaching out a hand. "Dude, what? You said he was cool with..." "He's not." Owen's voice cracked, a fresh wave of sobs choking him. "He called me. Said I'm disgusting, that I'm not his son anymore. Kicked me out. I had nowhere else." The words hung in the air like smoke from a house fire. I knew that tone, that venom. I'd heard it in my own father's voice back when I was Owen's age, fumbling through my own secrets in the closet of a small-town high school. Secrets I'd buried so deep they'd fossilized, only unearthed in therapy sessions I pretended weren't happening. Gay. It was a word I'd whispered to myself in the mirror once, twice, before shoving it away because Sarah was safe, and Julian was the best thing we'd made together. But now, staring at Owen's trembling form, that old ache bloomed fresh. "Jesus, kid," I muttered, dropping to my knees beside the air mattress. Without thinking, I pulled him into a hug, awkward at first, my arms stiff around his shoulders, but he clung like a lifeline, burying his face in my chest. His breath was hot against my shirt, ragged and uneven, and I could feel the rapid thump of his heart syncing with mine. Julian watched us, his expression shifting from worry to something unreadable, a flicker of jealousy maybe, or just the exhaustion of midnight drama. "It's okay," I lied, rubbing circles on Owen's back like I used to with Julian after nightmares. "You're safe here. As long as you need." He pulled back just enough to look up at me, those eyes locking onto mine with an intensity that made my stomach flip. "You mean that?" "Cross my heart." The words slipped out easy, but they lodged in my throat like gravel. Julian cleared his throat, breaking the spell. Dad, you mind? We're good now. Go back to bed. I stood, legs unsteady, forcing a nod. Yeah. Shout if you need me. As I retreated down the hall, Owen's gaze followed me, heavy and unspoken, until the door clicked shut. Back in my room, sleep was a lost cause. I lay there staring at the ceiling fan's lazy spin, replaying the hug, the warmth of his skin through the thin fabric, the way his fingers had gripped my shirt like he was afraid I'd vanish. It was nothing, I told myself. Just compassion. Fatherly instinct misplaced on the wrong kid. But the lie tasted bitter, and by dawn, when the first gray light crept through the blinds, I was already dreading breakfast. Morning came too soon, the smell of coffee brewing on autopilot as I shuffled into the kitchen. Willow Creek was waking up outside. Tract houses with manicured lawns, minivans idling in driveways, the distant hum of the highway that promised escape to Cleveland but never delivered. I'd bought this place 15 years ago, back when Sarah and I dreamed of white picket fences and family barbecues. Now it was just me and Julian, scraping by on my mechanic salary at the Ford dealership, fixing transmissions while my own life idled in neutral. Owen appeared first, hair damp from a shower, wearing one of Julian's old hoodies that hung loose on his frame. Morning, Mr. H. Alex. He managed a small smile, but his eyes were puffy, shadowed. Coffee, I offered, sliding a mug his way without waiting for an answer. He wrapped his hands around it, inhaling deeply. Thanks. For last night. I didn't mean to freak out like that. Kids call it a panic attack these days, I said, leaning against the counter. Happens to the best of us. You're not a kid. His gaze flicked up, holding mine a beat too long. And you're not freaking out. Not anymore. I busied myself with toast, butter knife scraping like sandpaper. Julian stumbled in then, yawning, diffusing the tension like he always did. Smells like heaven, he declared, ruffling Owen's hair as he grabbed a slice. The two of them fell into easy banter, complaining about AP Calc, plotting their escape to college in the fall, while I watched from the sidelines, an outsider in my own home. Owen laughed at something Julian said, a real one this time, bright and unguarded, and it hit me like sunlight after rain. God, he was beautiful. By afternoon, I convinced myself it was nothing. Owen's folks lived across town in one of those McMansions that screamed old money, but after last night's blow-up, he was crashing here indefinitely. Until I figure shit out, he'd said, and Julian had jumped at the chance for a permanent sleepover buddy. I didn't protest. The house felt less empty with him around. We spent the day like a makeshift family. Julian and Owen tossing a football in the backyard while I grilled burgers, the sizzle masking the knot in my gut. Smoke curled up lazy against the October sky, leaves turning gold and red like God's own watercolor. Owen caught a long pass, whooping as he spiked the ball, his shirt riding up to flash a strip of toned abs. I looked away quick, flipping patties with unnecessary force. Dad, you okay? You're quiet, Julian said later, sprawled on the couch with Owen during some dumb action flick. Popcorn kernels littered the floor, the TV flickering blue across their faces. Fine. Just tired. I sank into the armchair, nursing a beer. Owen shifted, his knee brushing mine accidentally, or was it? Sending a jolt up my leg. He didn't pull away. That night, after they'd crashed, I couldn't sleep again. The house creaked like it was whispering secrets, and around 2 a.m., I heard it, soft footsteps in the hall. I cracked my door, peering out. Owen, silhouette against the bathroom light, pausing like he sensed me. "Can't sleep," I whispered. He turned, shadows playing over his features. "Nightmares. Come on." Before I could overthink it, I jerked my head toward the kitchen. "Milk. The warm kind. Works wonders." He followed, wordless, and we ended up at the table, mugs steaming between us. Moonlight slanted through the window, silvering his skin. "Tell me about it," I said. "Your dad." Owen stared into his cup. "He's always been intense. Ex-Marine, you know? Expects me to be like him. When he found the texts from this guy at school, he lost it. Said I'd burn in hell. That mom would too for raising a fag." The word landed like a slap, but he said it without flinching. I reached across, covering his hand with mine. "Hey. You're not." "I am," he cut in, voice steady now. "Gay. And it's not a curse, right? That's what they say in those pamphlets at the library." "No." My thumb brushed his knuckles, a mistake I couldn't stop. "It's not." His fingers curled around mine, tentative. The air thickened, charged like the moment before a storm. "Alex, what if I told you I've thought about this? About you?" My breath caught. "Owen, just once. Last summer, at the lake. You diving in, all confident and real." His eyes searched mine, vulnerable and bold. "Am I crazy?" The world tilted. I should have pulled away, quoted every boundary in the dad handbook. But his touch burned, awakening ghosts I'd buried. "You're not crazy," I whispered, leaning in despite the scream in my head. Our lips met soft, hesitant, then hungry. His mouth tasted like mint and salt, hands fisting my shirt as he pressed closer. It was fire, forbidden and fierce, years of denial igniting in one stolen kiss. We broke apart gasping, foreheads touching, reality crashing back. "Shit," I breathed. "Julian, he can't know." "Not yet." Owen's voice was wrecked, eyes shining. "But I don't regret it. Neither did I." And that was the problem. The next days blurred into a dangerous rhythm. Julian was oblivious, buried in college apps and part-time shifts at the diner, leaving Owen and me to orbit each other in stolen moments. A brush of hands while passing the salt, a lingering look over morning coffee. Each one chipped at my resolve, building to something inevitable. One evening, rain lashing the windows like judgment, Julian was out at practice. Owen cornered me in the laundry room, the dryer humming cover for his whispered confession. "I can't stop thinking about you." I pinned him against the wall, kissing him deep, hands roaming under his shirt to trace the heat of his skin. "This is wrong," I murmured against his neck, even as I nipped the skin there. "Then why does it feel right?" He arched into me, bold and breathless. We tumbled into my bed that night, clothes shed like old skin, bodies tangling in a frenzy of need. His touch was electric, mapping me with reverence, fingers over scars from a life hard-lived, lips tracing the lines of worry on my brow. I lost myself in him, in the way he gasped my name like a prayer, our rhythms sinking until release shattered us both. After, lying spent in the dark, his head on my chest, Doubt crept in. "What are we doing, Owen?" "Falling," he said simply. "Into something real." But reality had teeth. Julian started noticing. The way Owen's laugh lingered when I joked. The extra plates at dinner. "You two are weirdly buddy-buddy," he said one night. Fork paused mid-bite. "Just looking out for him." I lied. Throat tight. Owen squeezed my knee under the table. Unseen. "Promise." A risk. Weeks slipped by like sand through clenched fists, each day layering guilt atop desire until I could barely breathe under the weight. Willow Creek carried on oblivious, pumpkin spice lattes at the corner cafe, high school football Fridays under floodlights, but my world had fractured into before and after that first kiss. Owen became my secret sun, warming the cold corners Sarah's absence had left. But shadows lengthened too. Julian's sidelong glances, the echo of Owen's father's rage in my own buried fears. We carved out pockets of stolen bliss. Mornings when Julian slept late, Owen would slip into the kitchen, pressing me against the fridge for lazy kisses that tasted like toothpaste and possibility. "Missed you," he'd murmur, nuzzling my jaw, and I'd melt, hands in his hair, forgetting the clock ticking toward disaster. One crisp Saturday, Julian dragged us to the county fair, corn dogs and Ferris wheels, the air thick with fried dough and laughter. Owen and I played it cool, but under the midway lights, our fingers brushed as we handed over tickets, a spark jumping like static. Julian won a stuffed bear at the ring toss, tossing it to Owen with a grin. "For your troubles, dude." Owen clutched it to his chest, shooting me a look that said everything. Later, as fireworks bloomed overhead in reds and golds, we stood shoulder to shoulder, Julian between us, and for a heartbeat, felt like family. Real, unbroken. But when the finale cracked like thunder, Owen leaned into my space, whispering, "Tonight." My nod was all the yes he needed. Julian crashed early, buzzed from cotton candy, leaving the house humming with anticipation. Owen waited until the clock struck 11, then padded to my room, door clicking shut behind him. We didn't speak, words were too fragile now. Instead, I pulled him down, bodies familiar yet new each time, exploring with the hunger of the condemned. He was poetry in motion, arching under my touch, moans muffled into pillows as I learned the map of him. The constellation of freckles across his collarbone, the sensitive spot behind his knee that made him gasp. "Alex," he'd breathe, like my name was salvation, and I'd lose myself in the rhythm, thrusting deep until the world narrowed to sweat-slick skin and shared breaths. Post-climax haze, we'd talk, whispered confessions in the dark. Owen spoke of his dreams. Art school in New York, escaping the Midwest's chokehold, painting sunsets that bled into oceans. "You could come," he said once, tracing patterns on my arm. "Start over. With me." I laughed it off, but the seed took root, twisting with thorns. At 42, with a son on the cusp of leaving, what was left for me here? The garage? Empty Sundays? Or this fire that could consume us all? Betrayal brewed subtle, like storm clouds on the horizon. It started with a phone call Owen took in the backyard, voice low and edged. I eavesdropped from the kitchen window, heart sinking as I caught fragments. "Mom, please." "No, he's not. I can't come home yet." When he hung up, face ashen, I wrapped arms around him from behind. "She wants me back. Says Dad's sorry." "You believe her?" He leaned into me, defeated. Part of me does. But the rest is here. With you. We made love again that afternoon, desperate and slow, as if sealing a pact. But pacts break. Julian confronted me first, cornering me in the garage amid the tang of oil and rubber. Tools clattered as I straightened from under the truck hood, wiping grease on my jeans. "Dad, what's going on with you and Owen?" The question landed like a wrench to the gut. "What do you mean?" He crossed his arms, jaw set, the same stubborn line Sarah's had during our fights. "He's different around you. Happy, but secretive. And you're always watching him. Like, intensely. Kid stuff," I deflected, grabbing a rag. "He's going through hell." "I'm just, Dad." His voice softened, eyes pleading. "Is it because, you know, about him being gay? Are you weirded out?" The irony burned. If only it were that simple. "No, Jules. I support him. 100%. Relief washed his face, and he clapped my shoulder. "Good. 'Cause he's family, you know? Like a brother. Brother." The word echoed as he walked away, leaving me to the ghosts of half-truths. That night, the dam cracked. Owen and I were tangled in my sheets, his legs wrapped around my waist. When the door flew open, Julian stood there, phone in hand, face draining of color. "What the fuck?" Time froze. Owen scrambled for covers. I bolted upright, brain scrambling for lies that wouldn't come. "Julian, wait. You." His voice was a whisper knife. "My best friend? And my dad?" "It's not." Owen started, but Julian's laugh, bitter, broken, cut him off. "Not what? Not betrayal? You too." "God. How long?" "Weeks," I admitted, voice raw. No point hiding now. Julian's eyes filled, but fury won. "Get out. Both of you." He pointed at Owen. "Especially you. Using my house. My dad, fuck you." Owen dressed in a blur, tears streaking, mumbling apologies that bounced off Julian's stone wall. I followed him to the door, rain-slick night swallowing him as he dashed to his beat-up Civic. "Call me," I begged. He nodded once, broken, and drove into the storm. Julian didn't speak to me for days. The house turned tomb-silent, meals eaten alone, his bedroom a fortress. I worked doubles at the shop, hands black with grease, mind replaying the horror. Owen texted sporadically, "Miss you. Mom's pushing. Help. Each one a hook in my chest." Desperation drove me to his parents' door one evening, the McMansion glowing like a false beacon. His mom answered, harried in pearls and apron. "Alex? What?" "Owen. I need to see him." Her face tightened. "He's grounded. After everything. Let me talk to him. Please." She relented, ushering me to the den where Owen sat, sketchpad in lap, but his father's shadow loomed from the armchair, broad-shouldered, eyes like flint. "You the one filling his head with filth, mister?" Riley growled. "Sir, save it." He stood, towering. "My boy's confused, but I'll set him straight. You stay away." Owen looked up, pleading silently. I mouthed I'm sorry, backing out as tension crackled. Back home, Julian waited in the kitchen, arms crossed. "You went there. Had to. For him? After what he did?" "He didn't do anything." Jules. We did. Together. He deflated, sliding into a chair. It hurts. Dad. Like, you're taking him from me. I'm not. I love you more than. But you love him too? The question hung. Vulnerable. I nodded, throat closing. Yeah. I do. He buried his face in hands, shoulders shaking. For the first time since the blow-up, we cried together, father and son, mending fractures with salt. Owen called 2 nights later, voice hushed. I'm leaving. Dad's sending me to conversion camp. Some bullshit in Indiana. No. Panic surged. Fight it. Can't. But. Meet me? One last time. We rendezvoused at the old quarry outside town. Moon full and mocking. Crickets chorusing our doom. He waited by his car, duffel at feet, looking like a soldier shipping out. I can't let you go, I said, pulling him close. Then don't. His kiss was fierce, tasting of goodbye. We made love on a blanket under stars, urgent and tender, bodies speaking what words failed. Afterward, he traced my face. Come with me. After. To camp? Owen. No. Away. New York. Us. The dream tempted, but chains held Julian's trust. Rebuilding. I can't leave him. Then this is it. Tears fell, hot on my skin. He drove off at dawn, taillights fading like a bruise. I sat there till birdsong, hollowed. The fallout settled like ash after a fire, coating everything in gray. Julian and I tiptoed through a fragile truce, shared silences over breakfast, tentative movie nights where he'd pick the comedies to coax laughs from me. We're okay, right? He'd ask, and I'd nod, even as the lie gnawed. Owen's absence was a phantom limb, throbbing with every heartbeat. No calls, no texts after that quarry night. His mother had confiscated his phone, or worse, the camp had swallowed him whole. Work became my anesthesia. The garage echoed with clangs and curses, engines gutted on lifts mirroring my own disassembly. My boss, grizzled old Hank, noticed the hollows under my eyes. Harlan, you look like death warmed over. Woman troubles, if only. Family stuff, I grunted, torquing a bolt until it screamed. He clapped my back. Kids'll do that. Had a boy once, wild one. Turned out fine, fine. The word mocked as I drove home through autumn's dying light, leaves skittering like lost thoughts. Julian had soccer practice, leaving the house echoing. I poured a whiskey, neat, and scrolled old photos. Owen at Julian's birthday, grinning with cake smeared on his cheek. Pool parties where he'd cannonball, splashing us all. That summer lake trip, diving lithe and fearless. Desire twisted with grief, hardening into resolve. I couldn't save him from afar. Googling Conversion Therapy Ohio yielded horror stories. Trauma masked as salvation. Kids emerging shells. One forum post gutted me. They break you till you pray the gay away. Don't let it happen. By week's end, I'd hatched a plan, reckless as a fever dream. Cash from overtime, a burner phone for Julian's emergencies. I'd bust him out, drive cross-country to that art school he dreamed of. Consequences be damned. But first, intel. I staked out the Rylus one rainy Tuesday, parked curbside in my truck, wipers slashing rhythm. His mom emerged mid-afternoon, keys jangling, off to bridge club or whatever kept her blind. The house loomed empty. Heart hammering, I slipped around back, jimmying the patio door with a credit card skills from shadier garage days. Owen's room was shrine to his spirit. Posters of Basquiat and Warhol, sketchbooks piled like altars. I rifled drawers, finding letters crisp, typed missives from the camp. Dear Owen, Day 3, prayer circle brought clarity. Remember, God's love is conditional on obedience. Rage boiled, but a photo tucked in a frame stopped me. Us three at the fair, arms slung casual, smiles wide. Taped to the back, a note in his scrawl to Alex, my anchor. Don't forget. Footsteps, his father's truck rumbling in the drive. I bolted, heart in throat, vanishing into the woods as the door slammed. Close. Too close. That night, Julian dropped the bomb over meatloaf. Owen's mom called the school. Said he's withdrawn. For personal reasons. My fork paused. Conversion camp? He nodded, eyes down. Yeah. I feel like shit. Should have fought harder. You couldn't have known, but I had. And inaction was complicity. We talked then, really talked, him admitting fears of losing his best friend, me skirting the edges of truth. I care about him too, I said. More than I should. Julian's gaze sharpened. Dad. Were you ever? The question hung. A bridge or a bomb? Yeah. Once. Buried it for you. For Mom. He reached across, squeezing my hand. You don't have to anymore. Absolution. Partial. Enough to fuel the fire. The camp was a squat brick building off I-70. Barbed wire glinting under sodium lights, flanked by cornfields that whispered of isolation. I arrived at dusk. 3 days later, thermos of coffee my only companion. Recon first, staff milled like guards, kids in khakis herded to vespers. Owen. Spotted him through a window, head bowed in a circle, face gaunt, eyes distant. My gut twisted. Plan B, bribe. The night orderly, a bored 20-something with a vape habit, took the envelope of hundreds without blinking. Back gate, 2 a.m. He'll be waiting if you call. The burner buzzed to life. It's me. Corey. Now. His reply coming. Midnight crawled. Rain slicked the lot as I idled. Nerves frayed. Headlights, his Civic. Stolen keys or luck. Swerved in. Owen tumbled out. Duffel slung. Wild-eyed. Alex. We collided. Hug fierce. His body trembling against mine. You came. Couldn't not. I bundled him in, peeling out before alarms wailed. The drive was delirium, him recounting horrors. Group confessions where boys spilled sins like blood, therapists wielding Bibles like scalpels. They made me renounce you, he whispered, hand on my thigh. Said you were temptation. Fuck him. I squeezed. Eyes on the road. New York. Art supply stores and rainbow flags. He laughed. Watery. Our flag now. We holed up in a no-tell motel outside Columbus. Neon buzzing vacancy like a heartbeat. Inside, peeling wallpaper and a bed that sagged. But it was sanctuary. We stripped defenses too close. Fears. Making love with the ferocity of survivors. His body, once supple, bore tension's marks. Knots in shoulders I needed away. Bruises from restraint therapy, I kissed like apologies. Never again, I vowed, holding him as dawn crept. But betrayal's shadow followed. 2 states in, near Pittsburgh, sirens wailed. Blue lights in the mirror, cops tipped, Owen paled. Dad, stay calm. I pulled over, hands visible, pulse thunder. The officer approached, flashlight blinding. Routine stop, sir. Tail light out. Relief flooded, but paranoia lingered. Who knew? His parents? Julian? We pushed on, crossing into New York by week's end, the skyline a jagged promise. Owen's art school acceptance, provisional, but real, landed via email, and we crashed in a Brooklyn walk-up, sublet from a drag queen contact he'd found online. Cramped, chaotic, alive. Julian called daily, voice bridging miles. You did good, Dad. He's glowing in pics. Pics, Owen grinned, snapping selfies. Us at Coney Island, cotton candy lips, sketching in Central Park, my head on his shoulder. Sharing the light, but cracks spiderwebbed. Owen's sketches turned dark. Portraits of me with Julian's eyes superimposed. Themes of stolen loyalties. Am I enough? He'd ask post-nightmare, body curling into mine. Always, but doubt seated. Was this rescue or selfishness? Julian's texts grew sparse, laced with resentment. Miss you both, but it's weird. Like you chose him over me. I hadn't. Or had I? The climax brewed at Thanksgiving. Julian flew in, crashing our shoebox with Midwestern politeness masking storm clouds. Dinner was takeout turkey, wine flowing loose. Laughter at first, Owen's stories of campus eccentrics, Julian's dorm woes. Then, over pie, it erupted. You bailed on me, Julian accused, fork stabbing crust. Drove off into the sunset, left me to explain to everyone. I didn't bail, I protested. I saved him. From what? His family? Or from facing shit like a man? Owen bristled. Easy for you to say. Your dad's not chaining you to a cross. And yours is. Julian shot back. You used him, Owen. My dad. Like some escape hatch. The room iced. Owen stood, chair scraping. I love him. That's not using. Love. Julian laughed. Hollow. You were my brother. Now you're this. Words flew like shrapnel. Betrayals unearthed. Owen admitting he'd confided in Julian once. Pre-kiss. About a crush on me. Julian confessing jealousy. Not just fraternal but deeper. Unspoken pangs of his own identity. I sat stunned. The web of hurts tangling us all. Doors. Boys. I finally barked. Voice brooking no argument. Out. Walk it off. They stormed into the night. Brooklyn's chill biting. Paced. Whiskey burning regret. Hours ticked 3. For panic rising. Police. Fights. When the key turned. They stumbled in together. Rain-soaked. Arms slung like old times. We talked, Julian said. Sheepish. A lot. Owen nodded. Eyes on me. He's right. I was scared. But it's real. Forgiveness. Tentative. Sealed with hugs that bridged the chasm. We 3. Remade. Winter clamped down on Brooklyn like a judgmental ant. Snow blanketing the brownstones in hush white, muffling the city's roar to a conspiratorial whisper. Our trio settled into an uneasy harmony. Julian bunking on the futon during breaks, Owen's easel dominating the living room, my remote mechanic gigs keeping the fridge stocked. It wasn't seamless. Old wounds suppurated in quiet moments, like when Julian caught Owen and me mid-kiss in the kitchenette, averting eyes with a muttered gross. But whatever. Progress. Jagged-edged. Owen thrived at school, his professors buzzing about his raw emotionality, portraits that bled vulnerability, abstracts swirling with themes of fractured families and reclaimed desires. I'd watch him paint late nights, charcoal smudging his cheeks like war paint, body moving with a grace that still stole my breath. "For you," he'd say, unveiling a canvas. Me, rendered in bold strokes, eyes holding storms and stars. But beneath the bloom, rot festered. Letters arrived from Ohio, his father's, scrawled in block caps. "Come home, boy. This perversion ends." Owen burned them in the sink, flames dancing like demons, but ashes lingered in his gaze. My own mail brought summons, divorce papers finalized, alimony nips that barely covered rent. And Julian, his calls home revealed cracks. Mom's asking questions. Dad, about where you really went. Tell her the truth when you're ready. But truth was a blade, double-sided. Spring unfurled tentative, cherry blossoms dusting the park like confetti from a half-hearted party. We picnicked one April Sunday, sandwiches from the deli, frisbee tossing lazy arcs. Laughter flowed freer now, Julian ribbing Owen about his old man boyfriend, me rolling eyes but heart swelling. For a moment, it was enough. Sun-warmed grass, shared stories, the skyline a benevolent giant. Then betrayal struck, swift as a sucker punch. Came via email. Anonymous sender, your boy's a fraud. Attached. Screenshots, Owen's Grindr profile, timestamps from last fall. Chats flirty and fresh. Hey stud, Willow Creek tonight? Messages to strangers. Dick pics blurred but unmistakable. Dated weeks before our Corey escape. I confronted him that evening. Laptop open on the table like an autopsy. Julian was out. Thank God. Gallery hopping. Owen entered whistling. Sketchpad under arm. Freezing at my face. What the hell is this? He scanned. Color draining. Alex, it's old. Before us. I swear. Before? This says October. We kissed in September. A relapse. He sank into a chair. Head in hands. Dad found out. Panicked. Downloaded the app. Chatted to feel normal, but I deleted it. Never met anyone. Lies. The word tasted like bile. You betrayed me. Us. No, tears welled. I was scared. Of this. Of losing you. Too late. Rage propelled me up, pacing the tiny space. Julian trusted you. I trusted you. And you were out there, whoring around. Not whoring. Seeking. His voice cracked. Validation. Before I knew what real felt like. Real. The irony curdled. I'd sought the same in bars post-Sarah. Anonymous hookups that left me hollower. But this, from him, stung like acid. Get out, I said. Low. Tonight, he packed silent, duffel zipping like a guillotine. At the door, he turned, eyes pleading. I love you. Let me fix. Love doesn't lie. The slam echoed final. Julian returned to find me wrecked. Scotch bottle half empty. What happened? I showed him the prints. His face twisted, hurt, then pity. Dad. He's human. Messy. Messy? He played us. Like you didn't? The counter came soft, but sharp. Sneaking around behind my back? Touché. We argued till dawn. Voices raw. Unearthing more. His own grinder dalliance's freshman year. Curiosity quelled by fear. We're all fuck-ups, he concluded, hugging me fierce. But families for the long haul. Owen vanished into the city's maw. No calls. Socials dark. Weeks blurred. My gigs dried. Anxiety gnawing sleep. Julian finished semester strong. But tension hummed. He missed his friend. I missed my heart. Climax brewed in June heat. Humidity thick as regret. A gallery opening. Owen's first show. Flyer Julian found crumpled in the trash. Fractured anchors. An exploration of betrayal and redemption. We went. Uninvited ghosts. The space buzzed. Artsy types in black. Wine flutes clinking. Owen's pieces dominated, massive. Visceral. One a triptych. Me central. Julian and him flanking. Threads snapping between. Raw. His eyes met mine across the crowd, widening in shock, then softening to ache. Post-show, he cornered us in the alley, smoke from a nearby bar curling acrid. You came, couldn't not, I echoed his old line, throat tight. I'm sorry, words tumbled. The app a desperate grasp post-father's rage. Chat's fantasy only, deleted upon our first touch. You were my turning point. Real love. Julian stepped up. Prove it. No more secrets. Owen nodded. Fierce. Canvas. Watch. Back home. He painted through the night. We sat vigil. Coffee cooling untouched. Dawn unveiled it. Us three. Intertwined roots from fractured soil. Blooming defiant. Redemption, he said simply. I pulled him close, lips brushing his. Forgiven, but storms don't end easy. His father arrived 2 days later, pounding the door like Armageddon Ohio plates, face thunder. Give me my son. Owen faced him square, us flanking like sentinels. I'm not yours to claim. Not anymore. Rhetoric flew. Bible verses hurled like grenades. Pleas masked as commands. You're broken. Boy. Let me fix you. I'm whole, Owen countered. Voice steel. With them. The old man deflated. Eyes wet, first crack in armor. Your mother's dying. Liver. Needs you. Manipulation's hook. Owen wavered, glancing our way. Julian gripped his shoulder. Go. But come back. He left with his father. Hospital vigil stretching weeks. Texts trickled, mom's fading. Holding on. Then silence. We flew to Ohio when the call came, end stage. Hospital sterile. Beeps mocking life. Mrs. Riley, frail in her bed, extended a hand to Owen. Then, surprising to me, you saved him, she whispered. In her final hours, confessions spilled. Her own silenced youth, a lesbian love buried for convention. Don't waste it, she urged Owen. Like I did, she passed at sunset, room bathed gold. His father, shattered beside her, offered truce. A nod. Gruff. Take care of him. Back in Brooklyn. Grief wove us tighter. Owen's show sold out. Proceeds funding a trust, his mother's secret gift. Julian declared a major in psych. to fix messes like ours. And I, enrolled in community college. Nights studying welding certs. Days loving fierce. Summer solstice. We rooftop barbecued. Stars pricking the smog. City pulse below. Owen leaned into me. Julian toasting with beer. To anchors. Fractured but floating. Autumn returned. Leaves flaming in Central Park like embers of old fires. But our blaze burned steady now, tempered by trials into something enduring. Owen's second show loomed, roots rebound bigger, bolder. Critics buzzing about the Harlan boy, as if he weren't a man full grown. His talent a force carving space in a world that once tried to erase him. Julian interned at a crisis center, counseling queer youth with the empathy of scars. His laughter brighter, burdens shared. Me, the shop job evolved into a partnership with Hank. Custom restorations for vintage rides. Polishing chrome till it gleamed, much like we'd burnished our bonds. Yet peace was a garden, weeds ever encroaching. Owen's father called sporadically, stilted check-ins, progress glacial, sent that check for school. Your Maud be proud. Owen took them, guarded but gracious, thawing ice with patience I'd envied. He's trying, he'd say, sketching his old man's profile, not the monster, but the man, lines etched deep with unspoken regrets. My own ghost stirred too. Sarah emailed once. Out of blue, heard about you. Happy? I replied honest. Yeah. Finally. No bridges burned, just acknowledged. Julian met her for coffee during a Midwest jaunt, returning with stories of her new life, wife, dog, therapy breakthroughs. She asked about you. Said sorry. Forgiveness. A quiet revolution. Winter whispered in early. First snow dusting the fire escape like powdered sugar on a bitter pill. Holiday lights strung the street, garish and warm, mirroring our domestic chaos. Tinsel tangled, cookies charred, but joy in the mess. We hosted a mishmash crew, Owen's queer art collective, Julian's dorm pals, even Hank with his flask of eggnog. Laughter echoed off brick. Toasts to survival, to the ones who stayed. Owen pulled me aside mid-party. Bathroom mirror fogged from showers, his hands framing my face. Marry me? The question hung, playful yet profound. To 43, rings and vows felt foreign, but his eyes, green and earnest, made it inevitable. Yeah, I breathed. Hell yeah. Word spread. Cheers erupted. Julian bear hugging us both. About time. Old man. Spring wedding rooftop affair. Cherry petals confetti. Efficient a drag queen with flair. Julian best man. Speech cracking us up. From sleepovers to this? Who knew betrayal could birth beauty? Vows exchanged simple. Owen's, you're my anchor. Steady in storms. Mine, you woke me, kid. To life. Rings slid on silver bands etched with roots. Honeymoon, a road trip west. Chasing sunsets through the Badlands. Motels with neon hearts. We made love under motel sheets threadbare but tender. Bodies synced like old souls. His whispers of forever against my skin. No more surprises, he teased, tracing my wedding band. But life scripts twists. Summer brought news. Owen. Pregnant. No art grant. Residency in Paris. 6 months. Come? He asked, sane glittering in promo pics. Temptation warred with roots. Julian's graduation loomed. His psych program local. Go, my boy urged over beers. Live. I'll visit. We did Eiffel Tower kisses, Louvre sketches of us intertwined. But distance tested, calls lagged, jealousy nipped when he'd mention cute baristas. Back stateside, Owen glowed, portfolio enriched, but shadows lingered. Missed you. Felt adrift. Anchors hold, I reminded, pulling him close. Climax revisited in fall's hush, a call from Ohio. His father, stroke, hospitalized. Owen flew solo, me following days later. The man in the bed was diminished, tubes snaking, voice slurred, but eyes clear, pleading. Forgive, he rasped. Owen gripped his hand. Already did. Vigil stretched. Stories swapped. War tales from Nam, softened by time. Loved your ma wrong, he admitted. Feared losing you same. Healing. Halting. He rallied enough for discharge. Owen shuttling him to rehab near us, Brooklyn truce. Dinners awkward at first. Meatloaf and manifestos. But laughter crept in. Julian mediating with jokes. Tragedy shadowed when rehab faltered. Pneumonia. Swift. Funeral small. Ohio church ironic backdrop. Eulogy Owens. He broke me. Remade us. Human. Flawed. Loved. Back home. Grief communal, we three. Plus Hank. Toasting the old bastard. To redemption. Glasses clinked. Years folded like origami. Owen's gallery in Chelsea. Shows international. Julian's practice thriving. Partner found. A barista named Theo. Irony noted. Me. Shop owner full. Restorations for celebs who never knew the stories behind the shine. 10th anniversary. We returned to Willow Creek. House sold. But quarry sacred. Blanket spread. Stars same as that fateful night. Owen leaned on me. Silver threading his hair now. Upside down. Huh? Best surprise. Kissed him slow. Worth every flip. Julian joined via video. Theo waving. Family forever. Humanity's arc. Not straight triumph, but bends toward light. Betrayals forged. Not fatal. Loves deepened in crucibles. In America's heartland sprawl, from Ohio fields to Brooklyn beats, we found grace. Not perfect, but profoundly ours. Epilogue whisper. Owen's final canvas. Hung central, triptych evolved. Roots now a tree. Branches us. Leaves infinite possibilities. Beneath. Plaque. For the surprises that save us. And in quiet nights, his head on my chest, I trace those branches, grateful for the boy who stayed over, the surprise that turned not just life, but souls, right side up.